Here we go, those are 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix. It's a McLaren 1-2, and it's going to be lights out, and away we go. And I do believe the two McLarens got away nicely, but I think Tim in actually the RB of Matthew in P3 actually got a much better start than Ransdell and has already passed. Can they challenge on the McLaren going into turn 1? Yes, they do. Tim going down the inside as the Williams goes around the outside, and Ransdell is already down into P5, and Matthew takes the lead on the opening lap. Can AVI do anything going down into turn 4, or is Fox is going to do anything as we all go down into turn 4? As we see Kalik and Faisdom there having a bit of a battle as Faisdom goes down the inside of Kalik. Can they get the inside of Tim going into turn 6 and 7? And no, they just have to back out on that one as Faisdom will be in P5, Kalik down in P6 as he goes, as we see Bosmois and Kuo trying to go down the inside of Koi, and I don't think that really I don't really think that's made right attempt, as I think Bosmois is going to try his look around the outside of the Sauber, can't make that move, as we see an Italian of Dodo going down the inside and making a bit of contact. I think was Kua on one of the drivers as they've half spun, and Dodo isn't able to make the move on the Sauber, but Bosmois is going to be under pressure by that Sauber behind, but the Sauber just stays in front as stays behind as Bosmois stays in front as Jamie gets through on Malachi there, and Ransdell down in P16. And I think they have actually disconnected, so that does explain why they are so far down and not gaining any positions. As we look at the front, no other moves really being made. Let me see if Ransdell is in the session. Always we go to see Dodo going down the inside of Kua there, and honestly we're not really getting that good camera angles as Kua I think tried the switchback on the Ferrari and got that move stick. Nicely done. And we're going to see side by side between Malachi and Goat Alonso. Malachi going down the inside and doing an Alonso on Goat Alonso and gets through there, but Goat Alonso isn't able to fight that back as Malachi now gets down the inside of Jamie. Jamie is going to try and fight this around the outside though, but Malachi just gets in front of the Ferrari into turn 11. Having it down to P4 now. Oh, his face on goes off the track there, and could have been seen as an unsafe rejoin there from the Williams, but Avi comes out in front, and we see Faisdom going down the inside as well, and I think that's Moores who's off in the background. Have they crashed out and they are in the barrier? They had to reverse, and they are down in 17th. Ransdell finally up another position as we now go down the straight. Foxes gets into the lead. Are we going to see Avi go for a lunge going into turn 1? No, we're not, but we are going to see Dodo making a move on Kua into turn 1. Dodo with the inside, latest on the brakes, and goes a little bit deep there. Can Kuis find the switchback? And they are going to remain wheel to wheel through turn 2 and through to turn 3. So close to contact. Both drivers with DRS enabled. Who is going to come out on top of this one? As we're going to see Jamie go down the inside of Malachi as well into turn 4. And I think Dodo just gets an end plate in front. But can Kua fight this back down into turn 5, 6 and 7? And I think Kua just had to back out of that one. And Jamie gets the move on Malachi behind as well as Avi gets back into P2. Is Tim going to go look for it on the Williams? And they certainly do. And they just managed to stay in front going into turn 1. Good move from Tim to get into P4, sorry. As Faisdom in at P5, now battling with Kalik. As I think Kalik is going to look to go down the inside of the Williams. Is Kalik going to be able to get that going into turn 4? And he brakes latest, locks the rears, snaps a little bit, and he does rejoin behind More Leader as More Leader gets back up into P6, and that was a little bit of a repeat as we saw from Division 5 earlier this week. As I think that's Malachi there in the background who has spun out on the exit of turn 8, and they spin a little bit again and they're into the wall and broken their front wing there. Resets track, that is going to be a penalty coming their way, as Matthew is going to be the first driver coming into the pits. So is Faisdom as well. So the top two decided to come into the pits. Well, P1 and P3 I think it was, is a bit too far behind, as Dodo is going to be, and Jamie as well, both of them make the move on Kua, but Kua is still going to try and fight this down the inside of Dodo. And are the two Ferraris going to maintain formation pretty much like the red arrows? And the red cars do indeed hold beautiful formation there as the Sauber is boxed in, but Dodo goes wide. Kua tries to get through, but I think Dodo has the better exit and gets back past on the Sauber going into turn 5. We'll continue to spectate Jamie, but no moves being made into turn 1 at the moment. Although I think Goat Alonso went a little bit deep there. Jamie tried to go down the inside, but unable to make that stick. But they do go side by side once again going down the straight into turn 4, and I think that's going to be an easy overtake there for Jamie to get into P7 as we see Ransdell go down the inside of the Sauber of Kua, and I think Ransdell is going to get that move, but Kua is still going to try and fight this down the inside, and I think there's a little bit of contact between those two. Kua holds it back down the inside going into turn 2 and through turn 3, and Ransdell has to back out, but can Ransdell repass it going into turn 4? Is Ransdell close enough to make a send? And I don't think he is close enough and will have to stay behind. I think it is just what drivers do nowadays. They just stay behind, wait for the DRS, as that is what Ransdell has done there. And they do get through marginally, but then Kua fights it back down the inside. But can Ransdell get through on this DRS straight, or will they wait for the next one? But I don't think Ransdell is waiting around. He is no driver to wait around, and is already past the Sauber going into turn 4. But the Sauber tries to go back down the inside, going into turn 4. Through turns 5, 6 and 7 we go. Bit of contact, and the Sauber's been tapped a little bit, but Ransdell holds out in front of that one. Whether Ransdell will get a penalty for that, I don't know post-race, but Dodo driving down the inside of the Sauber. The Sauber finds the switchback and gets back into P14 there, back into the mix a little bit, as we see the first hard tyre drivers pits of Jamie and Goat Alonso onto the soft tyres. That is what I was expecting. Maybe a little bit early for my liking, but they will now be on softs until the end of the race, as More Leader now heads into the pits. The championship, the championship leader goes onto the soft tyres. AVI still yet to pit, but I assume we'll be seeing him in the next few laps. And as I think we're going to see Kua and Moores there, Kua and Goat Alonso there go side by side. I don't even know why I thought Moores was in that fight. As we're going to see Ransdell get past on Jamie, and I think Jamie gets past on Ransdell there as well, but Jamie also goes down the inside of their own teammate as well and gets that move stick. Goat Alonso and Kua still going side by side, but Goat Alonso has to stay behind. But now Goat Alonso can now try and get past the hard tyre runner of Ransdell. Ransdell has been on those tyres for 12 laps, and that's an easy overtake for Goat Alonso there. As let's look at the front, let's see if Avi/Tim go into the pits, and Avi does indeed come into the pits, so does Tim, and I think Kalik will as well. Craggy as well, and Bosmanwis will probably opt to go into the pits as well. Will they pull to the inside? Yes, they do. So where is Matthew going to come out compared to these drivers? Well, we're going to look at Matthew, as Craggy gets a 10-second for speeding in the pit lane. That is not what Craggy needs. And Avi has finished his pit stop, and he's on his way to the pit exit. And Matthew is ahead going into turn 1. And what is the gap going to be to Avi behind? As I think both Williams are going to pass him as well, but Avi does come out just in front, although they are going to go side by side. Fox is around the outside, is going to have the inside for turn 2, but Avi just get in front, and it's 4.1 seconds the gap. And can Avi use those soft tyres to get through? But is Fox is going to get in front of the McLaren and make his day a little bit harder? Yes, he is. A little bit of contact though. Whether Avi thought that affected him, we'll have to wait and see, but Avi is already ahead, and I think Fox did give the position up there, so some good sportsmanship there from the Williams driver, and I am sure that is going to remove any possibilities of a penalty. And Tim diving down the inside of Face Dom and gets that move pretty nicely, and I think More Leader as well makes quick work of that as well. Swoops around the outside of that Williams and gets into P5 sorry. It will be a net P4 probably, and you can see just how much more speed these soft tyre runners have compared to the hard tyres, as Tim dives down the inside of Foxes as well and gets into P3. And now More Leader and Foxes there going side by side. More Leader makes quick work of that one as well, and Tim already pulling to the inside to try and break the slipstream. He knows. More Leader then pulls in behind. More Leader thinks he can get past this Mercedes. Pulls back to the racing line, tries to go around the outside. Tim blocks it off, and the Alpine then tries to switch back going into turn 2 and gets that very nicely. And More Leader now gets up into P3, will be a net P2 I presume once they catch up to Matthew, as Avi is now already back within DRS range of Matthew. That didn't take long, as we're going to see Tim driving down the inside of More Leader. Saw that bit late going into turn 1, side by side through turn 1 and into turn 2, and More Leader just stays in front, but can Tim repass it? Avi also going down the inside of Matthew, and Avi gets back into the lead of the race going into turn 4 on lap 22. Tim and More Leader still going wheel to wheel through turn 4, and the Alpine just has the inside and is just going to be ahead. But Tim trying to fight it around the outside, going into turns 4, 5, 6 and 7, and More Leader is tapped around there, and he's now down in P5, and I think that might be a penalty coming Tim's way. Bosmanwis not able to get that though, as Dodo tries to go around the outside of Kua. Kua somehow got back in front, side by side, through turn 2 and into turn 3. And Dodo is still going to try and fight it around the outside. Can Kua do anything? And I don't think they can. Kua stays behind. Moores retires in the pits. Hold on, I've just realised Avi has front end plate damage. When did he get that? As Kalik swoops down the inside. And I'm not too sure when that happened, but Kalik is now in the lead of the race. What happened to Avi? But he's had some front end plate damage there. More leader as well, past Matthew as well. I just saw that late as well, going into turn 4. As Dodo's retired, and so is Kua. There's been a crash at the back. Oh my days. Wait, no. Oh, okay, right. We saw it from Ransel. Let's see what happened from Koi. It looked like both of them crashed into the wall, I think, going into turn 1. No debris, but that's both of them out. Kua and Dodo crashing into turn 1, I think it was. And Kalik is in the lead at the moment. But what can Tim do down the straight? We'll ride on board with Tim to see what he can do. Down the straight we go. Overtake enabled, switches it off. DRS, he's going to get that rear wing enabled, and he is going to catch up to Kalik with the slipstream. But I don't think he's going to be quick enough, and I think he's just going to have to sit behind. Is he going to try for a vicious dive bomb? He does send it down the inside, and he's not required room. Pushes Kalik off a little bit there. Tim is still in P2 though. Avi right behind. Can Avi try to go down the inside of the Mercedes? And I don't think he's going to be able to. Can Tim still have any last minute dive to go down the inside? No, he can't, but there is still an opportunity into turn 11 and then into turns 14 and 15. We'll stay on board with this top 3. Alpine, Mercedes, McLaren. What can happen into this final few sectors and into this final corner? Tim dives it down the inside, locks the rears, and I'll have to say that was a pretty good overtake for the Mercedes there. Gets into the lead of the race. Kalik, though, still in P2. Avi in P3. Can the Mercedes hold on to this? Can Kalik get back past into turn 11? As we're going to go down the straight, Kalik does have that DRS and the ERS to play with, but I think Tim is going to pull to the inside. Can Tim remain in the lead going into turn 11? And they've been tapped a little bit, and Avi gets back into P2, Kalik down in P3. Tim still in the lead. Can he hold on to this? Avi is going to burn everything into turn 14 and 15. We're going to ride on board with Kalik to see if Kalik can do anything on this top 2. But is Avi close enough to make a move on Tim? It's going to be a late dive bomb if he is going to go for it. And Kalik is going to go down the inside of the McLaren, but isn't able to. And I think it's going to be Tim that will come out victorious here at Bahrain. But is there going to be any post-race penalties? But Tim is going to come across the line to win the Bahrain Grand Prix. Avi comes home in P2, keeps the championship rolling into Saudi Arabia. Kalik finishes in P3 with more leader in P4. Matthew then will finish in P5 with Craggy's 10 seconds worth of penalties. Foxus finishes in P6 as well. Boston Lewis jumps up to P7 with Jamie in P8 as well. Craggy will then finish in P9. Faison finishes in P10 with Goat Alonso finishing in P11. Ransdell, unfortunate race for him, but crosses the line in P12. And it's going to be Koi who will come across the line to take P13. And I'll tell you what, that was a pretty tense last lap there. But Tim gets the win, and Koi comes home to take P13 at the Bahrain Grand Prix.